Everyone, it's 9 o'clock. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's surely great to see everyone, and it's important to see back, but we're glad that everyone is here, and thank you all for being here. Thanks. We all got on about 10 till so we can discuss the appointments that we are going to be pursuing today. So good morning to everyone again. And at this time, Council, I am calling this meeting to order. This is our November 17th council meeting, the second one of the month, and I am calling the meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like to call on Councilman Gordon to lead us with the invocation and prayer. And as we can stand, once we get to the Pledge of Allegiance, that will also be led by Councilman Gordon.
All right.
Councilman Gordon.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day, another day, Father, that you've given us. Lord, I pray that you help us to take advantage of the day that you've given us to serve you, to serve this community, to serve this wonderful city. Lord, I just pray for everyone in the city that's involved in the day-to-day operations of the city, the decision-making in the city. Father, I just pray that you just watch over us, Lord, and just have your spirit fill us, Lord, with your will and the things that you want us to do, Father. I pray for our country, Lord. I pray for our state. I pray for this city, Lord, that you will just spread your love through everyone, Father. There's so much hate in this world today, Lord, and the only way that we're going to triumph over hate is with love, Father. I just pray that you help fill our hearts with that love, Lord, and just use our hearts to follow your will. Lord, I just pray all of these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Can everyone see the flag over my shoulder?
Yeah.
That's okay. Good.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Gordon. We will proceed, Council, with the agenda. There are no presentations or proclamations, so at this time, under the city clerk, I would like to call and ask the council for approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes for November the 2nd work session, as well as November the 3rd council meeting. And since we were all there, I'd like to have the pleasure of the board that we take this in one vote. So with that said, may I have a motion to approve the work session on the 2nd of this month, as well as the council meeting on the 3rd. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, that's Mr. Day. Who was that second, Mr. Gordon? Steve?
Ms. Johnson.
Ms. Johnson? Okay.
Yeah.
We got the motion and second. Okay. Call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also proceeding on under the city clerk, council, I would like to ask for a motion for the approval of the call meeting minutes on the November 2nd oath of office, as well as November 2nd organization meeting. And since we were all there, I would like to ask that we take this in one vote. With that being said, I'd like to call for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Bailey. Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, council, proceeding on the city council, are there any unfinished business for discussion or comments? Okay. Proceeding on, we'll get into the resolutions. And under administration council, the first one is resolution number 2020-266 to be ratified in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to enter into an agreement to hold TUC Tuck Construction Incorporation harmless in connection with the installation of the 24-inch sewer line connecting to a 30-inch line crossing Opelika Bridge. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the Utilities Department of the City of Phenix City, Alabama contracted with AlDOT to replace the Opelika Road Bridge and relocate the utility lines. And whereas the city misidentified the size of the sewer line crossing Opelika Road at the bridge site. And whereas the city wishes to hold TUC Construction Incorporated harmless for any liability that could occur to the 24-inch sewer line connecting on each end to the existing 30-inch line. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to sign a release agreement to hold TUC Construction Incorporated harmless in connection with the installation for the 24-inch sewer line connecting to a 30-inch line crossing Opelika Road Bridge. Passed, approved, and adopted the 14th day of October 2020. Ratified the 17th day of November 2020.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to ratify this resolution for approval. May I have a motion to ratify?
Motion to ratify.
All right, Mr. Day, motion. May I have a second?
Okay.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Okay, comments or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, council, on administration, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to make application for grant assistance from AlDOT for resurfacing Dobbs Drive from Auburn Road to Opelika Road. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phenix City is committed to rehabilitating and improving local transportation infrastructure for its citizens. And whereas the City of Phenix City is committed to addressing critical needs in our transportation system, such as safety, connectivity, and economic impact. And whereas evidenced by that commitment, the city wishes to make application to the Alabama Department of Transportation, AlDOT, for funding assistance from the Rebuild Alabama Act Annual Grant Program for resurfacing of Dobbs Drive from Auburn Road to Opelika Road. And whereas the engineering department has developed a preliminary scope of work and cost, which is estimated to be $468,056. And whereas if the grant application is approved, the project will be funded with $250,000 in state funds. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City hereby authorizes the filing of said application, including all understandings and assurances contained therein, and directs and authorizes its mayor and city manager to act in connection with the application and to provide such additional information to AlDOT as may be required. Passed, approved, and adopted the 17th day of November 2020.
Okay, council, we've all heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Mrs. Johnson, second, Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
We have that, Melanie?
Yes, sir.
Okay, comments or discussion, council?
I have just one, Mayor. The project manager, Angel Moore, has done an outstanding job just looking at this high-level overview of what the project will entail. And I really believe and hope that we could get that $250,000 from the state to help fund this project. It is one of those roads that are well-traveled. Ridgewood Drive, that is the only entry and exit from that subdivision. From the look of the photos, I did see some cracking and a little failure, but no patchwork. Not saying that it wasn't any or isn't any, but no patchwork. But I think this is one that we could probably look at as being proactive in making sure that, this well-traveled road is repaired and the duration, will last, up to 20 years possibly, given take or 1 or 2 years. But this is a good project, and I really believe and hope that we can get the funding to help with that. And our citizen will be very pleased once this project is complete. With that being said, Ms. Angel, do you know about when the expectation of the funding will be awarded, if awarded?
Ms. Johnson, sometimes it's within 60 days that they'll let us know. Normally they will send a letter back to the mayor, and that's how they'll communicate it. So hopefully by the first of the year, we will know something.
Okay, awesome. Good job.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next, council. Under administration is a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to enter into a contract with Charles F. Haynes Jr. for the purchase of property located at 1109 and 1113 Fifth Avenue and 1110 and 1112 Broad Street in an amount not to exceed $850,000. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama desires to acquire property for the purpose of economic development in the City of Phoenix City. And whereas the city wishes to enter into an agreement with Charles F. Haynes Jr. for the purchase of said property. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama hereby authorizes the mayor and city manager to enter into a contract with Charles F. Haynes Jr. for the purchase of 1.04 acres more or less located at 1109 and 1113 Fifth Avenue and 1110 and 1112 Broad Street, Phoenix City, Russell County, Alabama, and more particularly described in a proposed contract for sale of real estate between Charles F. Haynes Jr. as seller and the City of Phoenix City, Alabama as purchaser in an amount not to exceed $850,000. Passed, approved, and adopted the 17th day of November, 2020.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Comments or discussion, council?
Mayor, can we
Okay.
get someone to elaborate a little bit about some of the need for this right now with us, fixing to address some issues at City Hall, that some of the stuff that'll be moved across there temporarily for any other reason, in case some of the citizens don't understand,
Yeah.
some of this purchase.
Okay, Mr. Hunter?
Okay, it's part of the comprehensive plan to develop downtown for one reason that we got this. The timing just landed perfect that we are renovating the public safety building, and we need to move a lot of things from there and need to have somewhere to storage right now. And that's what we'll use part of that with after we get the buildings all secure and get the safety mechanisms in place to put that over there and move things in cars and everything else over on that property. But it's a great acquisition of land and property that we've been waiting on to take care of. So everything just blended into one at the perfect time right now. So that's part of when we looked at using the buildings to store in. Then at the same time, we look and we inquired again about the purchase of the property. So it's 4 pieces that go along with the piece that we have in the back. And it's just a good location. And we'll be able to do some other things that we're working on to further this type of investment.
I
Okay,
appreciate it. I agree with all that. I was, yesterday, we are probably temporarily gonna move maybe the court system over there, city court and some other things, in the future that may not stay there, but they'll be temporarily moved there. So we have a lot of need for the building.
No, sir. We're not moving the court system over there. The court system is going to the Central Activity Center. That was something that I was going to talk about later that the team has put together. They're moving some things across there to take care of those buildings, but they're also refitting part of the Central Activity Center to hold court in because it's a lot more room there. And building maintenance, Mike Bowers with his team has done a great job. And Ms. Ruby and her team and the court judges have done a good job with scheduling and rescheduling and they're going to put up a schedule that's out to let the public know when they're holding court and when they're not. So it's been a tremendous thing that they've been taking place in the chief of police and like I say, the fire chief over there in their building, they're getting everything prepped and put in place. And the chief has took the lead on this. And all those departments, Parks and Rec, TARD, and all of them, they have worked super well together to get this thing brought into one. So the transition of the move should take place, and they've got everything timed and lined out. The move monuments and everything else. They got a schedule put together and it's taken care of. I'm very proud of what they've done to get this thing ready.
Well,
Yeah, that's
Mr. Hunt, I'd
great.
like to say this. I'm very proud of that move. I listened to you elaborate on that. I'm very proud of that because on the back of that Central Activity Center back there, you have a lot of parking space available for the to accommodate the the court system, and that's a good move there.
That's correct.
Steve, were you about to say something else?
No, I was just saying, yeah, like Mr. Hunter says, all of our department heads are involved in all of this, are staying ahead of the curve and staying ahead of everything, trying to keep, the timing, as close to as short a period as possible. And so I'm just really proud of all of them and the effort that they put together, and also the effort that they put together to work together. We blessed in this city that our department heads are willing to work together for the goodness of each other, not just their own department, but they want to help each other's departments. So they stay on top of stuff very well. And I'm just very pleased that we have those kind of people in charge of our departments, and the people up under them are willing to, jump on board and get it done as fast as they can too. So a lot of cities aren't blessed with that kind of continuity between the department heads like that. So we're very blessed. And also, I just wanted to say, this property is next door to me. So, I'm excited to see the city get it, because I know that, the downtown redevelopment is coming down through here. I have no idea what the future is going to be, but I know we have a comprehensive plan for this whole area from, bridge to bridge. And Sean and them have worked very hard to stay on top of that. And I'm just very pleased that they have. And I want to thank Freddie publicly. I call him Freddie. Everybody may know him as Charles Haynes, but I call him Freddie. Known him for 50 years. Good friends with him, go to church with him. And I'm just pleased that Freddie, was willing to work with the city and willing to come to some terms, and just appreciate him being the citizen that he is and the person that he is. I'm very pleased to call him a friend, and I'm very pleased that that he loves his own city enough to sit down with y'all at the table and come to what I think is a very, very, very good buy on a piece of property.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Hunter and your team. We appreciate that. So with that now, Council, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Abstain.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on, Council. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to enter into a contract agreement for professional services between the Phenix City Housing Authority and the Phenix City Police Department. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phenix City, Alabama and the Phenix City Housing Authority desire to enter into an agreement. And whereas it would be a benefit to the Phenix City Housing Authority and the city of Phenix City to enter into a contract for professional services and have a contract agreement between the Phenix City Police Department and the Phenix City Housing Authority. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that the mayor and city manager as authorizing officials are hereby authorized and directed to sign the necessary documents for the above referenced contract agreement between the city of Phenix City and the Phenix City Housing Authority, passed, approved, and adopted the 17th day of November, 2020.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Council, we've all heard the resolution. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Mr. Gordon. That's the second, Mr. Day.
That's fine. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Melanie, we have that?
Yes.
Motion second. Council, any comments or discussion?
Yes, sir, Mayor. I know this is something we do, Angela. What I would like to ask the question this: the weekend is our offices over there? During the weekend as well. Like Saturday, Sunday, and stuff like that. They call as needed, and also the other portion up there of Stadium Drive, that new portion, that come under that contract as well.
Chief?
You want me to answer? Go ahead and address that. Yes, the Housing Authority contract is what we do is we have a squad dedicated to the Housing Authority to service them. Not only do we do active patrol in all the Housing Authority buildings and facilities, but we offer, great community service, work with the Housing Authority to address any issues or concerns. It is a 7 operation. We have that squad just like a patrol squad. They're always on duty. They're, like I said, we have a specific squad just assigned to the Housing Authority to address those needs that they have.
Okay.
They do include any assets that the Housing Authority manages, including the one on stadium as well. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
Chief,
Chief.
I see on B, is it B? Let's see. Frederick Douglass and Riverview properties. You saying it's all of the Phoenix City Housing Authority properties, or
Yes, but those are two of the specific that we focus on, of course. But we do offer background investigation work as well as address any needs that they have in any of their facilities, whether it be managed by the Housing Authority or operated or run by the Housing Authority. So yeah, that's the way we got it set up.
Okay. Good deal.
Thank you, Chief. Council, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, council, also under the administration, we have a resolution in reference to adopting the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Phase 1, 2020. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. A resolution of the City of Phoenix City Council adopting the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Phase 1, 2020. Whereas the Phoenix City Council recognizes the threat that natural hazards pose to people and property within the county. And whereas the City of Phoenix City has participated in the preparation of a regional multi-hazard mitigation plan, hereby known as the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Phase 1, 2020, in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Phase 1, 2020, identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property in the City of Phoenix City from the impacts of future hazards and disasters. And whereas adoption by the Phoenix City Council demonstrates their commitment to the hazard mitigation and achieving the goals outlined in the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Phase 1, 2020. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the East Alabama Regional Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan, Phase 1, 2020, in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, is hereby adopted. Passed, approved, and adopted the 17th day of November, 2020.
Thank you so much. Council, we've all heard the resolution, the reading of the resolution from our clerk. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, Council?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Mr. Day, and that's the second, Mrs. Johnson.
Yes, thank you.
Comments or discussion?
Yes, on yesterday, we elaborate on that a little bit yesterday, but Chief, Mr. Hunter, could we get somebody to touch on that for the citizens of Phoenix City? And one of the questions I would also like to ask is this whole plan going to be on the website? Mr. Hunter, did I understand you to say we do this every 5 years, upgraded? Maybe
I'm sorry, you didn't even say that. Chief, go ahead.
Yeah.
This document is adopted every 5 years, but it's actually
they adopted. Okay.
right.
Yeah,
So
it's
last time
changed
we adopted was in 2015. We will start probably again this year, making sure that we add to or modify any hazards that we identify in our jurisdiction. This is phase 1, so it includes all of Russell County and all the cities therein, as well as all of Lee County and the cities therein. Other counties that make up the D region, and those then phase 2 and phase 3, those other counties are continuously updating their mitigation efforts and they'll adopt in the subsequent years. And come 2025, we'll hopefully have this document updated and identified any additional hazards, and we will adopt a new version, an updated version. But again, this is a living document. Like we said yesterday, Angel pointed out that one of the things that we had not had in our mitigation plan was all the dams that are located in and around Russell County and in Lee County.
Okay.
That's been added to the plan this year. That's something that has been updated. So we'll continue to monitor those dams and those locations, make sure that they're safe, and that if they were to fail, that we would have a plan to be able to respond to those failures, those kind of things. Most people think about this as a flood plan, or that's probably the most common, but it includes everything from sinkholes to tornadoes to hurricanes, even to thunderstorms. So anytime that we have a damage or disaster event in our city, we catalog that, we record that, and we develop plans to mitigate anything that happens in the future. I mean, even down to when we know that there's going to be a windstorm coming, Angel and her crew will go out and pick up debris to make sure that we don't have any flying debris prior to a windstorm. That kind of thing is what this plan is designed to do, to help us reduce any damages from natural disasters.
Well, Chief, with this plan in place, it would also help us to obtain dollars from the various sources out there. Is that right? Grants or whatever.
Not only help us obtain it, but if we don't do this, if we don't continuously manage this, then we will be forfeiting those FEMA funds. We have to have this plan in place, and it has to be adopted every 5 years with updates in order to make us eligible for FEMA reimbursement whenever we do have a disaster. Again, it's designed to reduce the amount of money that we have to request, but if we don't do anything and we just let it roll, they won't reimburse us because we're not doing our part to mitigate any of the damages that come from natural disasters.
Okay, thank you, sir.
There's more you want to speak on your portion? Your addition to the mitigation plan?
Yes, sir. I think, like Mr. Chief Smith said, that the biggest issue that we had prior to this one is that we didn't have the dams in there, and that right there did not allow us to go to FEMA to try to get any money to repair our dams. So that was one of the biggest additions that we had to this plan. But also, as without this, all of these FEMA or disasters that are declared, we wouldn't be able to get reimbursed. So that's why it's very important to keep this plan updated, and it's very important for the city council to adopt it. So like Chief Smith said, FEMA knows that we are participating in this mitigation.
And Mr. As they know, all the fire, police, and engineering, all public works, as they know, we've seen this evolve over the years to get better and better, and seeing so many others that join the team of it. So it's a good thing that we keep in place.
Okay, Mr. Hunter, I know up there, I think it's on Bridgewater, that dam we've been working on or talking about it for quite some time. Will we be able to get funding for that? Or is it too soon?
No, sir. For the project that we've got ongoing up there now, we wouldn't be able to get funding for that. So this would be for future projects.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all so much, Mr. Hunter, Chief, as well as Angel. So with that said, Council, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on, Council, on the ordinance, we do have a first reading. It is an ordinance to exempt certain items from the municipal sales and use tax during February 2021, referred to as a severe weather preparedness tax holiday. At this time, I'd like to call on the clerk for the first reading, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. An ordinance of the City of Phenix City, Alabama to exempt certain covered items from the municipal sales and use tax during February 2021 as authorized by Act 2012-256, generally referred to as the Severe Weather Preparedness Tax Holiday. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama as follows. Section 1. In conformity with the provisions of Act 2012-256 enacted by the Alabama Legislature during the 2012 regular session, providing for a state sales and use tax holiday, the city of Phenix City, Alabama exempts covered items from municipal sales and use tax during the same period, beginning at 12:01 a.m. on Friday, February the 26th, 2021, and ending at 12 midnight, Sunday, February the 28th, 2021. Section 2. This ordinance shall be subject to all terms, conditions, definitions, time periods, and rules as provided by Act 2012-256. Section 3. The city clerk of the city of Phenix City, Alabama is hereby authorized and directed to certify a copy of this ordinance under the seal of the city of Phenix City, Alabama, and to forward said certified copy to the Alabama Department of Revenue to be recorded and posted on the department website. Section 4. This ordinance shall become effective upon publication in the Citizen of East Alabama. Passed, approved, and adopted the 17th day of November, 2020.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've heard the first reading. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to place on first reading. May I have a motion to place this ordinance on first reading?
Motion to place it on first reading.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Bailey. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, council on the board appointments. We have the Housing Code Abatement Board, and we do have 5 openings. So what we're going to do, council, as we've discussed, that we will not do nominees since each of us have a person that we would like to appoint. So I will start off in the order that we vote, as we've discussed also. At this time, I'd like to call on Councilman Day to see who he would like to appoint on this Housing Code Abatement Board.
Mayor, at this time, I would like to appoint Mr. Ricky Martin.
Okay, that appointment is also council and everyone else as is the form of a motion. So with that said, I'd like to ask for a second for the approval of the appointment of Mr. Ricky Martin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gordon. All right, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also, we've already set the precedents. So with that, I'd like to call on Councilwoman Johnson to see who she would like to appoint on this Housing Abatement Board. Mrs. Johnson.
Yes, Mayor. I would like to reappoint Ira Kendrick to serve on the abatement board.
Okay. Okay. That is also in the form of a motion. So with that, I'd like to ask for a second for the approval of Mrs. Johnson appointment, please. Second.
Second.
Gordon. Second, Mr. Gordon. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on now at this time, Councilman Bailey, who would you like to appoint or reappoint?
I move to appoint at this time Bronny Brown, to reappoint him.
Bronny.
Bronny, Bronny Brown.
Okay. That is also council in the form of a motion. At this time, I'd like to ask for a second for the approval of Mr. Brown.
Second.
Second, Mr. Day.
That's fine. Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to call for the vote for the reappointment of Mr. Brown. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now also at this time, I'd like to call on Councilman Gordy
Yes, sir.
for his.
I move to appoint Mr. Kendall Parks. Mr. Kendall Parks.
That is in the form of a motion also. So with that, I'd like to ask for a second for the approval of Mr. Kendall Park. And have a
Second. I second that, Mayor.
second, Mr. Day. Okay. All right. At this point, I'd like to call on Mrs. Lee for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yeah.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also with me, and typically I do not make motions, but this is in talking with our attorney, I can make an appointment that will be in the form of a motion. So at this time, I would like to appoint Kimberly Poole. So that is in the form of a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second, Mayor.
Second, Mrs. Johnson. Okay.
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to call on the vote for the appointment of Mrs. Poole. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, council. Proceeding on the license application. This is a second reading. It is an application for an on-premise beer license and on-premise wine license, off-premise beer license, off-premise wine license, submitted by Hike Horning of Sticks and Stones LLC, doing business as the Castle Hoff, located at 502 Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway, Phenix City, Alabama. The first reading was on the 3rd of this month. However, council, I would like to ask for a motion to deny based on the letter from the owner stating that he will be relocating and changing addresses from this. So with that said, I would like to call for a motion to deny for those reasons.
Motion to
I'll
deny.
have that motion at this time.
Motion, Mr. Gordon, and second, Mr. Day.
That's fine. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Thank you, council. At this time, I'd like to call on our city attorney, Mr. Jimmy Graham. Jimmy?
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have two claims on the agenda today. The first one is a claim filed by Greg Davis Law on behalf of Mr. Dennis Andrews. Mr. Andrews was involved in an automobile accident with a city vehicle. Y'all have got the photographs and all that I have. You got the memorandum, and the claim is filed under the proper code section, but they did not give us any estimates of damages like we require. But I would like the mayor and council to give me permission to negotiate a settlement to this. There's no question about liability. We're liable. I just think that, you know, instead of denying the claim and telling them to resubmit it, we'd be better served by just going ahead and trying to, you know, negotiate a settlement of this claim. And that would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graham. Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. This time, I'd like to ask for a motion to give him permission to contact Mr. Davis. At this time, may I have a motion?
Motion the recommendation.
Okay, motion, Mrs. Johnson. That's a second, Mr. Day.
That's fine. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Graham?
Council, the second claim is filed by Taquisha Slaughter. Ms. Slaughter was traveling on 431 South, right at Rainbow Foods. A a piece of debris was picked up and hit a windshield, causing damage to the windshield. You got the memorandum from the department head stating that we had a crew working down there that day. Also, you have the police report. Ms. Slaughter submitted 3 estimates, the lowest being $270.10 from Stevens Auto Glass. My recommendation is to pay this claim in that amount.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Graham. Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for the approval of that recommendation. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right. Motion, Mr. Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second, Mr. Bailey. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that's all I'd have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Graham. Thanks to the council member at this time. Council, if there's anything anyone like to add or take away?
One of the things that I like to piggyback on what Mr. Bailey spoke about earlier, you know, as I look and observe our Mr. Hunter, as I observe your staff, department head, they do a wonderful job working together. And that's what they're going to take to continue to move this city forward, teamwork. And I see that in all of your department head, which is a good thing. I just want to say that a little bit. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Day. Anyone else? Before.
I just have one quick thing, if I may, Mayor. I did see the press release yesterday during the work session. The question came up about the 2020 Christmas parade. And so I was glad to see the press release go out on that. As we know, we have just done things with the new normal this year. And I know the children and a lot of adults may miss that, but we have to do what is necessary and take precaution of this global pandemic. So I think it was in the best interest of everyone to not have that. And I just want to say to our citizens out there, I just ask God to show us favor, send us immune strength, because this pandemic is really sickening and suffering a lot of people. And so I just ask God to show us favor and send us strength during this Thanksgiving season. So if anyone is able to just open their eyes this morning, that's more than enough to be thankful for. But I will say this, you know, Chief Kennedy kind of mentioned about some stats on the pandemic and how, you know, much is just taking a toll on the entire world. And she talked in particular about the stats in Alabama. And about 40%, I did some research as well, of those deaths come from diabetes, which is just a horrific disease. But I just pray that, you know, everyone will have a safe Thanksgiving season. We may not could be physically close this Thanksgiving season, but we can always be close within our hearts. And I hope everyone will adhere to the guidelines, the CDC guidelines, and stay home and stay safe. I apologize for that one. I forgot to take it off the hook. I apologize for that. But again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and have a safe Thanksgiving. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Mayor, if I could, just a second. I'd just like to kind of reiterate what Ms. Johnson was speaking about. Not about the pandemic. It's here. Everybody's aware of it. But this Thanksgiving season, Christmas season coming up, stay close to the ones that you're close to already. Try to keep everybody separated the best you can. Try to limit some of your traveling because, as we know, the holidays are going to come and go. But this COVID-19 is going to be here after the holidays is over. So let's don't have some spikes after the holiday. let's hope that right now the spikes we're having could be the highest that they'll be, and maybe they'll start downhill after this. But this time of the year is special to a lot of people because it is Thanksgiving. It will be the Christmas season here also. Open up your pocketbooks in your wallet and help that way with some of these organizations that already have the people, you know, in place to do the most for the people that need the most right now. And look at him. I don't think we've ever had more people that need the most. It's just so much suffering, so much pain out there. I know it's hard to dig into a pocketbook and a wallet when your business could be down a little bit or suffering, but remember this, there are people suffering a whole lot more than yourself sometimes. I know I wake up every day, think about things that are going on, but as I look on the street, past people walking by, see people on TV, hear them on the news, there's people in a whole lot more worse shape than anybody that I know of personally. So please just remember to love each other, do for each other, keep your, I know this sounds terrible because we're not used to doing it, but keep your get-togethers as small as possible just to the things because as we know, each of us has been touched by this COVID pandemic in some shape, form, or fashion, and mostly it's been from people that we know being sick or people that we know passing away, and that's just a horrible, horrible way to think about something. So let's don't cause anybody any pain or suffering. Let's try to eliminate the pain and suffering and do that with prayer and do it by just staying apart from each other the best we can. That's why we're Zooming these meetings and all. Everybody wants to run back out there and start being around each other, but it's just not the time to do that. So if they would, please think about that. And one other thing, I abstained on that vote. I know you don't have to explain anything, but the property is next door to me right here. So I didn't want to be involved in that. Freddie has been a friend of mine for over 50 years. So therefore, I just didn't feel like I should vote on something that is next door to me and something that belongs to a very, very, very good, close, personal friend of all these years. So, but I do agree with the purchase. I definitely do. I know that sounds like I'm endorsing it and should have voted for it, but I felt like I should abstain for those reasons. But I think it's a very, very good purchase for the city. And I thank the city staff for working so hard on it. And again, thank Freddie for working with the city on that. And I hope everybody, all of us included, have a wonderful Thanksgiving next week.
Thank you.
Mr. Gordon, anything? Okay. Mr. Hunter, anything you want to add to take away?
As I did say it on yesterday, looking at the agenda books and the idea that Melanie had, I want to thank her personally on TV while we're on this council meeting, her and her staff. People don't realize it's like a assembly line in a factory when the ladies are putting these books together. But this time we've had a lot of illness, and Melanie, they had to put together it a different way. She used some other people and herself, and it's a lot of work. But like I say, she came up with a good idea, and her staff followed through, and they did a good job with this. And I want to thank them. It's colorful, and it's a beautiful thing. The other thing that I'm proud of is when we was putting this team together years ago, the employees working together, and y'all can see that, and it takes time. People don't always stay together long enough for people to see a team develop. And they've shown their experience, especially with this move. We got just about $4 million renovation that's gonna go on with the public safety building. We just purchased this other property across the street, $850,000. You have almost $2 million project that's going on with the building and tower that's gonna be at the fire department. So you're looking at $6-7 million right there in District 2 that we're doing and renovating in this city. There are a lot of things going to be going on at the same time throughout the city. That's very important, and that's a good thing for a city to be gotten to this point to be able to do those things like that. So it's been real good to do, and it's a lot more. I hope with the experience we got and that we have, it's important on the education side of government, and we have some plans in place with a lot dealing with the high schools, and we deal with Mr. Randy Wilkes on a few things as far as getting people to understand public administration. Mr. Bailey, you said something a few minutes ago that was very important. When anybody do abstain, for the public's sake, it is good to give an explanation. And you gave gave the right explanation. It was a good one. And even with making this move, when I decided it was time to make the move on this property, I've included Sean in that at the last minute with things, because people, they can get accused of things and stuff too in economic development. So in looking at these things and looking at the plans that's setting aside, we have to make those decisions. And knowing that you know Mr. Haynes, you know, and been knowing him for years, our life probably, and it's a good thing to do that, because people wonder when you have these votes what the conflict is or may be when it's not a yes or a no. So the public we need to be more conscientious on explaining things to people that get sit on boards. We've had people in this city that sit on boards and still don't have a clue of why they sat on it. And that bothers me to the day with the amount of time I have in this city. You just don't sit somewhere to have your name on a board. You learn what's going on. You should have an introduction. You should have classes on what you are doing, because if you don't, you can make some tremendous and hurtful decisions and votes that's detrimental to the city. And our city, with what we've had put together now, we need to start really thinking about with the experience level and with what the knowledge of the council and the knowledge of these department heads, somebody has really got to start really leaning towards and thinking about the different initiatives that we put in place for the city of Phenix City, for the city to continue the development that it has. And one of my goals before I get out of here has always been a legacy of perpetuity. So people will remember forever the efforts and the team that was there to put this city in a place to grow from now on, way beyond our time of sitting in these seats. That is very important. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And that's a good segue. As I always say, it's never about us. It's about what we do for others, and the others are the people of this community. But again, I want to thank you all, the team. And we do know it's the time of year that we ought to be thankful. Thanksgiving has come up, and I would encourage everyone to spend time with your family, the ones that are going to cry the most at your funeral. You need to spend time with them. But we do have so much, in spite of what's happening in this world. We truly, truly have a lot to be thankful for, in spite of. And we ought to be thankful to be able to set the example that we know who is in control. But I also want to encourage us to show gratitude and to be gracious, because without that, we could never be what we striving to be, alluding to some of the things that Mr. Hunter said, is that we have to always look forward to make sure that we are setting the path for generations to come. And that's our purpose. It's not to be grandiose. It is strictly for the sake of servants. And to be a servant, we all have to be thankful, and we are truly thankful. And again, I just want to thank this council, thank this community, thank CTV Bean for bringing this to our citizens of this community. May God continue to bless all of us and bless Phenix City. At this time, we do stand adjourned. Thank you all so very, very much.